Hello there! My name is Tiernan. I didn't think I'd be making this video, but I have to. I have to talk. This past weekend on Friday, Netflix dropped the new original series, 13 Reasons Why. It's 13 episodes, and it's based on the YA novel by J. Asher, which came out like 10 years ago. I just spent my entire weekend watching it. I read the book when I was literally 10, and it's stuck with me all these years. I don't remember like little details, but it really was an instant classic in YA. It was such a huge book, and it was before BookTube, before most of the social media, really. So it's interesting to see how different of a story it is. I'll get into that later. I don't want to spoil things just yet. Basically, if you have no idea what this is, I'll tell you about it, I'll tell you why you should watch it, and then you should go watch it, and then come back, because I'm going to talk about it. 13 Reasons Why follows this high school student. His name is Clay Jensen, and he gets these tapes in the mail, and once he starts playing them, he realizes they're from Hannah Baker, who is a classmate of his who killed herself recently. She left behind 13 tapes with 13 reasons why she ended her life. Every tape is dedicated to a person, and these tapes are sent to all of these people one by one. That's the premise. It's a very heavy show. I would say now a trigger warning for anyone with issues with self-harm. There's sexual violence, bullying. The show really rips off the band-aid of everything. It really just goes there. It's all out there in this show. I really enjoyed it. I watched all of the episodes in 3 days. I really have a lot to say about it. I think everyone's gonna be talking about it like this week. So I highly recommend watching it. Stuff that a lot of people need to hear, and just a reminder and sort of a reflection on the way that we live right now. I think this series did such a good job with so many of these things. So if you haven't watched it, I don't know if I would recommend like reading it first. I mean, it's like totally different experience. The show is much more in-depth with the characters. J. Asher was a consultant on it. You know, they had 13 hours of television rather than 200-300 pages of a novel. Isn't that always what we say we want from our books, is like 13-hour movies? The book had a huge impact on me. I was really young when I read it. So the story is completely different now that I have been through high school. We're living in a totally different age from 10 years ago when the book was written. We're gonna discuss now. I didn't really know this was happening till like 2 months ago. Book-to-movie and book-to-TV adaptations are constantly going into development, so I am numb to any announcement ever. One example being this, like 7 years ago with Selena Gomez. It's so amazing to see her producing now. I'm so happy she stayed on the project. I love her song, and it really works out that this show got to happen now in the age of Netflix, because if it had just been a movie, I don't know, there was something just totally different about it. Brian Yorkie, I didn't know this, created the show, and like, created it. He wrote Next to Normal and If Then on Broadway, Idina Menzel, Anthony Rapp. So he created and wrote this series. Katherine Langford as Hannah Baker. I really thought she was stunning. Her accent, I didn't even know. She really just was that character for me. I mean, she's the character who was on the cover of the book. So not only did she look the part, but her voiceover, I could really feel her pain, and I was frustrated for her and with her. You know, it was really hard to watch her throughout, knowing what's going to happen at the end. Katherine Langford is also going to be in Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, the movie, so that's gonna be awesome. I'm excited about her career in general. And then Dylan Minnette as Clay. Poor guy with all the Logan Lerman comparisons, but I was having Perks flashbacks all the time. Just like the way he spoke, the headphones, Kate Walsh, the British co-star, the indie music. Come on. If I like was not watching sometimes, but I just heard him, he was Logan Lerman. I'm sorry. But I did think he was great. I thought the whole cast really, as a team, was really strong. I was happy that there was a nice diverse cast. Miles Heiser from Parenthood, what? Did not know he was in it. I thought he was great as Alex. I have to mention Tommy Dorfman. He's a huge activist. I'm pretty sure this is his first big role. I thought he was fantastic. The poetry, his relationship with Hannah and the whole school. I was really happy to see his character. And Tony as well as a gay character. Was Tony gay in the book? I feel like I would have remembered that. I don't have the book here with me, so I can't reference it. Courtney's character and her being nervous to come out to her dad's. I'm so happy that was in there. I did want the coming out scene to finish at the end. It was cut. But that's not a situation that you see a whole lot, and I related to that quite a bit. We had Justin Prentice from Awkward as Bryce, probably the most difficult character to watch. His scenes were sickening. The sexual assault scene in the 12th episode. Those last 2 episodes were pretty graphic and intense. As sickening as it was, I think they handled it really well. The actors did a good job. It took me a second to get into the feel of this show. I was like, how is this really supposed to be making me feel? It was kind of campy at times. I thought there was some silly writing. Just little moments of like, and they had to get over the hurdle of, you know, cassette tapes were obsolete 10 years ago, but now they're ancient. So they had to have moments of like, I believe they're called obsolete. And like Clay's dad, I just don't know how I felt about him the entire series. My roommate walked in on me watching it, and the first line he heard was, "Hannah, I know you think everyone loves you because you've got this great ass, but I like you for so much more than that." Which, like, out of context is weirder than it really is, but just some of the things they had to say, I was taken out of the show sometimes. But it was not that. I feel like it got better, or maybe I got used to it. Fortunately, I think the actors committed and handled it really well. And the script was not terrible. I thought it was structured really nicely. I wanted to watch the next episode every time. But sometimes it just seemed like it was afraid to exist in 2017, and that it was trying to do that. Again, these are teenagers living in the modern world, so it's very different from when Jay Asher wrote the book 10 years ago. Even though there were cell phones and they mentioned like Facebook and Twitter, I can imagine it was a difficult thing to bring to this year. But then by the end, the message remains the same. And overall, I think it was working. My only other thing was that there were too many like visions happening with Clay. It was a good thing they used the injury to separate present day from the past. So because of that, I was like never confused. But mostly like while we were in present day, there would always be these moments where Clay would make a decision that was sort of shocking, and then we realized that like it didn't actually happen. He got like brought back to the moment, like he was staring into space. I thought that happened way too much. Like sometimes it would be happening 3 times in a scene, especially at the basketball scene. It's like sometimes the things that he was picturing himself doing were not even that crazy. Like they could have just happened. You have 13 episodes to get him out of whatever. You're already taking the plot like a step further by making it 13 hours long. But again, like I think it got better as it went. I was up all night finishing it. That last episode was really hard to watch. I'm happy that they really decided to go there with everything. I think they made the right call at mostly every turn. This show is already starting a lot of important conversations. It's hard to watch, it's frustrating, and it makes you think about the way that you're acting, the way that you're feeling yourself, and the way that you are making other people feel. Because you do impact others, and the little things add up, and one moment can mean everything to someone. I'll never forget the last line of the book. I won't say it because maybe you just watch the show and you want to read the book now. The moment in the book, like it's in the show, and it really sort of is the message of the show. And I'm so happy that that moment happened and then was expanded upon in the series. And I think it says a lot that I read this book in 5th grade and now I'm in college and I remember that last line. It's small, but it's everything. And especially, I mean, now our world is even more fast-paced and stressful. Everyone's putting on a show all the time. So it's important to look under the hood sometimes and help other people out. I mean, that's what humanity is all about, and we forget about that. So I'm grateful to this show for starting conversations. It's been difficult for a lot of people to watch, and you know, people have really individual experiences. If anything, I think it's good that now others have a better understanding of that. You wouldn't want to discount anyone's individual struggle, but these things are not always portrayed, and nothing was just like touched upon. We really went there with everything, with rape, with bullying, with the gay characters, even with other things that I probably am missing. There was so much. It was unsettling when we would see it go from her situation and watching that flashback to Clay there all these years later, especially like with the broken down stop sign when he went to Bryce's house. One of those things that worked really well. I'm glad they took advantage of those opportunities on camera. Even in the last episode when he was at Mr. Porter's office, we saw how the lighting was different from his conversation with Hannah before to now the mood of the school. I wonder if they're going to do a season 2. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, well, it kind of sucks that they can't do a season 2 because it's 13 Reasons Why. But the way that they set things up with Tyler and his guns and Alex, it's all very unsettling with her parents opening up the files. There's quite a bit that could happen next, and I think especially with Jay Asher on board, it could continue to be a very important series, but it'll never be like season 1. I'm not necessarily rooting for it, but I would watch it. I'm really happy that I watched this series. It made me think a lot about my own high school experiences with bullying and all different kinds of people, and just those small moments, you know, sometimes for me would mean a lot, where to someone else they mean nothing, and sometimes for me it's just another day, and then for someone else it's everything. It goes both ways all the time. I think everyone involved did a really nice job. I hope a lot of people watch it and start talking. I mean, once you watch it, it's like you have no choice but to have a different mindset. Someone who's mean to someone watching that show, that's everything. And like we see in this, it's the bullies who also have those things going on at home. We saw a lot with Justin's stepdad. I mean, wow, those scenes. I'm happy the show exists and is accessible and on Netflix, and I'm still grateful to this book, which is a classic now. I never did get to like talk about the book on my channel because I read it so long ago, but I'm really happy to see the story come back. So thanks for watching this video. I'm assuming if you're this far you've seen this series, hopefully. Please leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. I'll be reading. I really want to discuss this with people. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe as well. And of course, links to all of my social medias will be in the description. Have a good one. See you soon. Goodbye.